Hello, thank you so much for joining me. Quite a few people have asked me about boundaries. How do they go about setting them? What exactly do we mean by them? It's basically like putting a fence round your garden, a fence round your property. You are putting a fence round yourself, but not a fence to keep animals out, just to let people know where your boundaries are and the bits inside are your property. But you are being much more specific than that. We set ourselves boundaries. Those are usually the ones that are very easily broken. Right, I am not going to spend more than, and you put that figure in your head, but if you've got your pieces of plastic with you, if you've got more, dare I say, cash with you, then that temptation is a strong one. And well, I couldn't resist. You know the feeling? We set boundaries for children that don't touch that, it's hot. That's not a good one to set for children, because to them they might say, oh, that's nice and hot when you get in a bath at night time. You need to be concise and say, that is very hot and it would burn you, it would really hurt you. So yes, you're being specific. Some might say you're actually putting fear in them. But if the alternative is that maybe they touch that gas ring on the cooker, touch that front of a wood burner fire, then who would be to blame? Yes, the child for doing it because they haven't got the common sense not to, but we have to assume that as the adult, we need to take responsibility for their safety. So what about our own safety? What about setting those boundaries for others? And this can happen in lots of different circumstances. And you need to be clear and precise. I always remember visiting friends in America, and they probably very unwisely let my son have a go on a quad bike. And they said, don't go beyond those trees because that's not our property. It belongs to the old folks' home, and they will get really cross if you go over their boundary. Of course, a young boy on a quad bike, once he was on it, that was it. He was off. And a friend sort of went, oh no, wait for the phone ringing. They'll be ringing to complain. But when there's no actual line for a boundary, then you have to be specific. And that might be with someone that you have let them go, that you want to be out of your life. Then the boundaries could be short and very specific. I do not want you to come to my home. I do not want you to phone me. I do not want you to text me. And you'll probably have to include in that any form of communication that they might prefer, because otherwise they will say, oh, well, you said not to phone, not to write, not to email, but you didn't mention. So be specific. And once those are set up, they know them. It's no good just saying, I don't want them to do this, that, and the other, without telling them. They're not mind readers. Well, probably not. And if you don't tell them, then how do you expect them to know? Maybe better than word of mouth would be to write them. Email, dare I say, a letter? Does anybody write letters? But certainly an email, so that you can lay it down and they have no reason not to accept your wishes. You don't need to go into any great explanations as to the whys and wherefores, because that is taking away from this aim of setting a boundary. They know the reasons. They know that you need to make yourself feel safe. You need to make yourself feel secure. And if that means cutting them out physically in any way, then you need to do that specifically. Yes, you can take ways to help. You can block emails, you can block whatevers, but they still need to be told. Otherwise, if you just block them, oh, why have you done that? Why have you blocked my messages? Again, you're leaving a gap in the boundary fence. You need to make sure that that gap is continuous and is understood. So what else might there be? There might be the physical. There might be, I don't want you. This is when it can become very, very specific. I don't want you to spread rumours to friends about me, tell lies about me. Because in many instances, if you've let them, that could be something that happens. And unless you've actually said, don't do that, then they'll probably feel free to do it. And again, you need to tell them that. I won't have it. It can become difficult because if you're insisting that they don't do something and they do it, where do you go with it? Do you just remind them of the boundaries? There have been people who have threatened and even taken legal action. But again, that is a road down which you want to avoid going if you possibly can. Because in situations like that, there's only one winner, and that's the legal person. So think carefully about what you want to stop, what you want to avoid, what you want to take control over. If there are children involved, yes, obviously as their father, their mother, whatever, you can see the children, but it must be at agreed times, with them being brought home at set times, and getting that down in writing, specifics. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you do it, it can save a bit of heartache. I was going to say it can make things easier, but it can make things less troublesome. That sounds better. So think about what you really want to achieve, and then how you are going to word it. Specific. It's not a great big long essay. Specific. And keep a copy for you and make sure that they know and understand. On that note, I will say thank you for joining me, and have a go at setting some for yourself, even if you've not got that awful situation of having to set them for someone else. I've got a pigeon eyeing me up here, and I have a non-verbal agreement with them that they don't build a nest in a tree, where they nested last year and completely ruined the bed underneath. But that's an ongoing one, because I don't speak English. I don't speak pidgin, they don't speak English. So that's an ongoing battle. And I think it's sort of on us even at present. I would never hurt them, but I will certainly shoo them out of that tree. But then 10 minutes later, they're back in again. So that's a boundary that, unless I actually put a great big covering over the tree, it's even Stevens at present. So thank you for joining me. Take care, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.